Welcome to the BleedRedblacks Podcast with your hosts Mike, Colin, Shannon, and Santino. Produced by Mark and Johnny Z. BleedRedblacks starts now.
Hey, welcome to Bleed Red Black Season 3, Episode 6, Sunday Roast. That's the name of the game today. We all saw what happened to our Sunday Roast this weekend, and it was a little overcooked. I'm joined here by my main man, Santino. How's it going, buddy?
Good, how you doing?
Pretty good, keeping that spot warm as always.
Yeah.
And the one and only, Janine. Hey, buddy, welcome back. How was DC?
DC was hot. 45 degrees hot.
Really?
Yes.
Is that just because it's all concrete? Or
Don't go to DC in July, man. Don't go to DC in July.
And I'd also like to just make a quick announcement here. Season ticket holder Mike has been called out on work again. Someone's got to pay the bills. You guys and your jobs,
I know,
priorities. So we've actually outsourced his co-hosting duties to Angus McCohost. What's up, Angus?
Hey guys, thanks for having me on the show. I'm no season ticket holder Mike, but I know a lot about foots and balls, just not the kind you Canadians are used to.
I'm really excited to have you here, man. So let's...
Before we begin, I was told there would be handsome compensation.
Whoa! Sorry, bud. I already gave you your cookies. You know what? What the hell, man? We'll just get out of here.
Do you think Sean Connery starred in Goldfinger for fucking oatmeal? I'm out of here and I'm taking my cookies with me.
Okay, well, it looks like producer Mark, you have to have a seat here, bud. We need that fourth co-host, so...
Yeah, well,
producer Mark, what's up?
Sometimes you can't rely on the outsourcing, right? It pays to have local talent.
Well, I always say we have the best team, and that's what happens when you try to bring in new elements, right? Like,
There's no I in team unless you're dyslexic.
there you go. Quote of the week.
Unless you're dyslexic and can't spell at all.
Okay, fair enough. So it's like a compound situation.
Are we splitting hairs here, guys, or what?
And the grammar police are back in studio again.
Next segment, we'll be talking about CERN. I'm really missing the winning song. I got to be honest with you. I miss the Sheen, I do, and I do miss the Motorhead. So hopefully our team can turn it around for many other reasons other than music.
Do it for Lemmy.
But yeah, let's do it. Do it for Lemmy. That's right. I like that new mantra.
Yeah, do it for Lemmy.
So the one good thing about well, we did win actually because Montreal beat the Green Whites. So that means we don't have to do a shot of dill pickle vodka. Woo!
Thank God.
Yeah.
I hear it was pretty bad, eh?
Well, I said it was
What,
like...
Saskatchewan's score or the dill pickle vodka?
Both?
Well, actually, you're pretty lucky because you weren't here for that one win, and I don't think they're going to win again this year, so you'll probably get to avoid it.
Yes.
So, I think it's pretty awesome that our Prime Minister has enough time to polish the Grey Cup. That little bit of extra effort goes a long way, you know. And I don't know, for those of you who were at the game. Well, Angus, looks like there's his Uber. See you, buddy. So there's an in-game video of the Grey Cup coming to TD Place.
And I thought that was just fantastic, seeing the Lumberjoes, the Grey Cup coming down the canal.
That's
how much
cool,
more
eh?
Ottawa can you get? That was just wicked.
It was great, and it was all in good fun. And I mean, obviously, the announcement was, the worst kept secret ever, as everyone said, but it didn't matter. And I mean, seeing the guy who started off the handoff, our Prime Minister, and the guy that ended it, another legend, Mr. Gabriel. It was perfect,
Yeah, it was great. And you're right, worst kept secret in, the CFL in Canada, but a great little surprise on how they announced it. It was really a great video. It was
And
nice
I don't know
to
if you guys actually went down to TD Place a little bit early and went into the arena to meet some of those 1976 players, but they had it set up extremely well. It was really easy to get in, to get autographs and pictures with the guys and just kind of chat with them. And it was kind of funny because aside from the really old fans that were not old, but the older generations of fans that were there, most people were kind of going down the line and kind of getting autographs and shaking hands with people, but having no idea who the hell they were. But everyone's like, "Oh, Gabriel!" And it was pretty awesome though.
And to a lot of people, that means a lot. So much so that I gave my tickets up to my relatives who remember watching that game and they wanted to be there and they needed to be there. It was the first game I've ever missed, but I feel like if there was a reason to miss a game, it was so my uncle and his buddy could go meet these heroes they grew up watching. So I took one for the team, I guess, but I got to spend the night at home with Rod Black, so winning. Right?
Lucky. What's worse, dill pickle vodka or a game called by Rod Black?
Let's just say if I was in court right
Remember
now,
the
you would all
pigeon
know I
question?
was guilty. Like, when your answer is, it's like, wow, I don't know, body language required. Guilty. Sorry, Santino, what are you gonna say?
No, never mind.
Save it for the basement.
So
tapes.
Parody in the league decided to show up this week, and I'm not talking about the Calgary Kicker. League Parody has really caught on fire again, and it happened last year when we least expected it, and it happened again. So, so with that being said, I think we're all getting murdered at CFL Pick'em this year.
I'm just gonna quit, goddammit.
Yeah, I don't know. We decided not to do a segment this year because there's a lot of experts out there and enough people that know what's going on. So why don't we roll to a little clip, our little CFL Pick'em clip for the week, and then we'll come back and talk about the game last weekend.
Sounds great.
Well, folks, when you're right 52% of the time, you're wrong 48% of the time.
Why didn't you say that before?
Okay, Jimmy, you're off the hook. We got
Saskatchewan, Montreal.
coming up. Any thoughts?
I certainly do, Brett. I hereby declare
Saskatchewan.
to be Smooth Jimmy's Lock of the Week.
Ooh, that's a big lock, all right. But I just don't trust that guy.
In the
Saskatchewan, Montreal.
game, I declare
Montreal.
to be my shoe-in of the week.
They both make a good case.
Welcome to Around the CFL on the BleedRedblacks Podcast.
Right, around the CFL, like I said earlier, no winning song this week. Had a tough loss at home, 23-20, in what turned out to be a defensive / kicker battle. As we announced in the intro, love the chain of command. I'm no expert, but going from the Prime Minister to RCMP to the Lumberjos to Big Joe to Tonio Gabriel, what? But just love the fact that those guys were included, and I thought it was super fun. And like we said earlier, it was really really well done. Well, the big story is the return of Hank. So his first game since week 1. It definitely wasn't the return that anyone was expecting. 20 for 34, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions. Could have been many more. Now, he commented at half that he was only 90%, but let's be honest, I think the jury's still out on that one.
I just don't think he's okay. I think he's saying what he has to say, which is that he's okay to play. But everything was underthrown. I really don't think he's okay. And I'm not making excuses for the guy. He's a big boy. He, when he has a bad day, he has a bad day. But I just really don't. There was something about each and every one of those throws.
Yeah, and to his credit, after the game, he owned it. He said he wasn't bothered by the injury, just that he didn't have a good day throwing. But at the same time, he had tape on his fingers, which he's never had before. And I guess you could kind of argue that's protecting his finger. But at the same time, to me, that would really hamper your throwing hand. And yeah, he just looked like a guy who hadn't really played a game since November.
Yeah, exactly. And he'd been chilling for 5 weeks. To be honest, neither team really had any flow in the first half. And, yes, we know. We've all read Santino's article. Every rookie quarterback that plays against us basically gets a notch in their bedpost. Add Logan Kilgore to the list. The fifth pivot. Would that strike a chord, Janin, or something? He's not a notch in your bedpost, is he?
Another rookie.
Yeah, another one. Woo! 5 for 5.
Another Scott Milanovich rookie.
Yeah.
He just trains him so well.
Well, maybe it's time for you to ask Coach out on a date.
It's getting warm.
Can we get the AC on? AC.
Anyways, the fifth pivot to get his first CFL victory against the Red Blacks. and we are just 6 weeks into their third season. Logan went 25 for 42, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. So I just want to say a few quick things. I don't mind going for fakes, but if you're going to fake a play, disguise it. You don't need to have motion before the ball is snapped. And if you are going to fake a field goal, don't have your fourth stringer pass it to a defensive lineman. And what was really cool was, okay, really quickly, what wasn't cool, play calling in general was terrible. I think that we called a different game because of a meta game with our OC playing against his old coach, and I really think that they played a very reactionary style of game, which trumped ours, and I think our game plan was foiled early. Logan could be heard on TSN prior to the last drive saying, let's go out and win this game. And obviously TSN played the shit out of that. But it's true. And looks like the QB factory continues in Toronto. Milo had a 55er. Hirlahu had a 53-yarder and went 5 for 5. The kicking game in the CFL is just on point. And I don't know where these guys are coming from, but there was no one kicking field goals like that 10 years ago in this
3
league.
years ago, there was no one kicking above a 45er. Like, I don't know where this is coming from.
Lastly, lol at quarterback controversy article today. Like, will you writers give it up already? This was motivated by Harris saying that he'll be back in less than a month? Like, ooh, call TMZ. What's next? Did you guys hear Trevor Harris insider trading scandal? Oh, no, wait about this. Abdul Kanay's dating Rihanna.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, also, Coach Nelson. He's a stunt double for Ric Flair.
I could see that.
And did you guys know Janin's actually Big Joe?
You spill the beans, man.
Season ticket holder Mike hates Phillip Rivers. Anyways, like, obviously we deal with enough news fabrication every day. Let's not let it creep into our league. All right, so we're going to move on to this epic battle.
Yeah, the Green Whites against the Montreal Alouettes. And obviously, Montreal creamed them 41-3. So on one level, watching the Owls absolutely curb stomp my most hated team was extremely pleasing. But on the other hand, it kind of royally pissed me off because it's like, was this the same Green Whites team that edged the Red Blacks for their first win last week? And yet here they are playing like a terrible team in Montreal who's been not very good this year. But yeah, they managed to look like world beaters against Saskatchewan.
Let me ask you, Santino, you ever been to Montreal before?
Once or twice.
How was your performance the next day?
Pretty rough.
Exactly.
What are you implying, Colin?
Just Montreal's a very dynamic and exciting city.
Crescent Street is the 12th man in that city.
So watching that game, it wasn't like Montreal really did anything special. Kevin Glenn threw the ball 16 times to Duron, who's his daddy, Nick Carter. And Nick never met a buffet he couldn't finish Lewis for 183 yards and a touchdown. And led by their linebacking cores, the Alouettes defense balled out. They totally shut down everything the Green Whites tried to do. SAS QB Gale Mitchell, or Mitchell Gale, I can't remember how I wrote it here.
Gale.
There you go. Barely crossed the 200-yard passing threshold, and he just completed over 50% of his passes. I'd also like to take a minute to give a shout-out to the former and last Renegade standing, Kyrie Zeber. The guy is 34 years old, but he's still killing it at linebacker. And he actually finished the game tied with Bear Woods with the team leading 6 tackles. So why should our nation care about this game? Well, for all the early success Ottawa had, and despite their brutal start, the Owls are only a single win behind Ottawa. And yes, while we do have the extra point on them due to our tie with Calgary, they've clawed back into the thick of things in the East. So that's kind of concerning. And lastly, on the Saskatchewan front, the Justin Capicotti sack watch continues. He had another game in which he failed to take down the quarterback, but he did make 3 tackles, so hopefully they're getting their money's worth there.
I think he just misses us.
I think so.
I think
yeah.
he just misses us. It's that simple.
You were gone for 1 week. I missed you.
Aww.
Me too.
I feel like we should hug it out, boys.
Yeah, just gear down there, Janin.
Oh, wait, you're not a Milanovic rookie quarterback.
Actually, Colin can throw a football over those hills.
And the Blue Bomber.
And we're going to move on to, a very surprising game. The Bombers, I would say, upset Edmonton.
Totally.
I don't even think the Bombers were expecting to win.
No, I mean, it was the battle of former Argos coaches. Moss and O'Shea shared the sidelines in 2012 when they won a Grey Cup with Toronto, and the first time they met. It was cool seeing them kind of talking before the game. It must be neat to... Their paths have gone in such weird directions since, It must be really cool to see those old buds, So was the first quarter the longest quarter in history? Honestly, I went out and came back. It was still first quarter. So Lightning Gate 2.0. Another question, is 25K fans in Edmonton acceptable?
That's gotta hurt. That's the biggest stadium in the country.
No,
It's,
to me, for that fan base and for that team, if you're not having at least 30,000 a game, that's disappointing and a cause for concern.
I mean, these are the Grey Cup champions.
Yeah, and I mean, their seats, it's like an attempt to disguise by being no one there with the multicolored seats. I think it's actually worse, to be honest, because I'm like, wow, the pattern's really cool.
A pattern I wouldn't see if there were bums in
I'm
the
like, how long
seat.
do I have to stare at it till the sailboat pops out? Willie Peg no more. I mean, this time last year, who would have thought? It wasn't really a surprise to anyone, but the reins have been handed over to Matt Nichols, and Section O rejoices. Bombers management / fans, they must have really been stoked to see some off-season pickups actually pay off this game. I'll start with Andrew Harris, last year's rushing leader. He's finally back, and he finally got the blocking he needed to kind of show us what he's made of. 22 for 127 and a touchdown. And O-line is happy when the running back turns around immediately and gives the touchdown ball to one of the big men to spike. So that tells the tale. I think he's developing a relationship with that O-line, and it's taken a little longer than he thought. Also, Weston Dressler, he was heating up the week prior with 12 receptions and continued his hot play. 6 receptions for 111 yards to accompany Darvin Adams' 10 receptions for 121 and 1 touchdown. Came out today that Weston Dressler is been put on the 6-game injured list. So just when things start to get going there, it looks like they're having some difficulty already. Nichols had an awesome game, 26 for 33, 304 and a touchdown. Great numbers for his first game back. And as we see in Ottawa, there is never a controversy. Depth equals no worries, basically. And it's been a great feeling for us to have those backup guys there.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say too for the Bombers, they had some rookie starters in on defense because of all the injuries they've taken. Yeah, they've lost Dressler. He's been in and out this season, but they've also taken some big hits on defense. So just big congratulations to Kevin Fogg and to Taylor Loeffler, who started at safety, and they had themselves a really good game against a wickedly good offense in Edmonton. It's not their offense that's struggling these days.
Yeah, touche toot. I just want to say Winnipeg's first win in Edmonton, not Edmonton, New Brunswick, Edmonton since 2006. Last time they won there, Ryan Smith still wore the C, and Taylor Hall's life had yet to be ruined. Yeah, sorry, Pick'em. We have no idea what's going on. So congratulations on a huge win, Winnipeg. Lastly, let's head her out west.
All right, so BC Lions, Calgary Stampeders. This was a hell of a game, and if you missed it, and if you have on demand or can find this game somewhere, go find it, because it was a great game to watch. The Stampeders ended up taking it in overtime, another overtime game this season. I think we're on pace to set a record for the most overtime games in a football season. Stampeders 44-41. Why should we care about two Western teams battling it out for first place in the West? Because this is the perfect example of hashtag no lead is safe. And this is just the kind of game that everybody... it doesn't matter who you're cheering for. It doesn't matter if your team is on the field or not. It was just a damn exciting game to watch, and we should all care about damn exciting football games.
This is one of those games where, that Deb Strickland lives for.
Oh, yeah.
She, the barn burner specials.
Yes.
Those were made for her. So I hope she enjoyed this, especially the result. I'm sure she was quite pleased.
And I have sat with her in her section, and I can just imagine the up and down emotions going on in that section, and the cans of Bud Light being sucked back at the same time. But anyway, Deb, I know you had a good time at that game, and I know your section was probably rocking through that. This was a great game in that BC had the lead, and they frankly had the momentum through a really good chunk of this game. And Jennings, who struggled early this season after having such high hopes last season, has really seemed to find his game, and he's picked up his stride. At one point, they were ahead of the Stampeders 17-3, but those Stampeders just kept grinding it out, and they kept sneaking up, and then bang, before you know it, at halftime it's 17-16. And then again, the Lions, 17 points in the third quarter, take a pretty hefty lead. And in the fourth quarter, I was watching this game and I was thinking, it almost looked to me like Bo Levi was giving up. Like he just looked like there was no fire, there was no passion. And it wasn't until you watched him get the second last touchdown, not the one that tied the game, but the touchdown before that brought them within 8, that you started to see that fire, and you just realized this is him. He just stays calm in these situations when other people would freak out. And I think that's the key to why they were able to come back. Did you guys watch that? Did you guys have that impression of his demeanor on the field?
I think one thing I think when I watch Calgary is like a team that doesn't seem to get rattled too easily. They got some veterans on that team with rings, and a lot of, I don't know, you can feel that. I mean, if they would have made it to the Grey Cup last year, I think they would have given us a run for our money as well, and they very well could be, back-to-back champs. And I think that if I'm a team out west, I want to model my team on their kind of composure level. They really seem to have their ducks in a row.
Yep. The other reason this was a game we should care about is because everybody loves offense, and this game was just full of offense. I mean, both quarterbacks threw just 360 for Jennings and 370 for Jennings and 360 for Bo Levi. That's a lot of yards. Both threw 3 touchdowns. That's a great offensive matchup. It's fun to watch that kind of a game, and that's why we should care.
Just real quick, I thought it was kind of interesting, though, that after the game, a lot of the Stampeders players took to Twitter to kind of call out the fans who are leaving early. And to me, I get the sentiment that you don't want your fans to leave early, but the way they did it on Twitter was pretty aggressive. And I don't know if you want to be as a player, do you really want to be kind of bashing your own fans that much, especially after a win?
They pay your salary after all. Yeah,
exactly.
You got to think there's going to be a few fines coming out, I would think. I mean, if Nick Lewis is getting a fine in Montreal for talking about how poorly his team is doing, and what I thought was firing them up, I'm hoping that at least, they have a talk with these players and say, come on, guys.
Yeah, those guys might have had a good reason for leaving early. The dinner could be on the stove.
Sunday roast. Oh, wait, what day of the week was this? Thursday? Friday roast?
I hate to break it to you, but a Sunday roast is amazing 7 days a week, okay?
Friday was always pizza night growing up
Brought
in
to
my
you by
house.
the
Friday
Alberta Cattlemen's Association.
Pizza night.
Every night is roast night. Yeah.
Pizza night? I thought Friday was boiled hot dog day. Where the hell did you grow up? All right, thanks guys. Let's go to a little commercial and then come back after Mark's done trashing his place and the game preview.
Sometimes you need to go back and then back some more to actually move forwards or sideways. I don't mean go back as far as a streetcar, but maybe halfway back, like to the 50s. I know there are those who say that they can't take the bus. Yes, you can. You just have to be going to the right place. TD Place. Why park and ride when you can ride and park? I've been stuck at Herdman Station for 45 minutes, and I don't quite know why. OC Transpo, where backwards is the new forwards.
Welcome to the Coaches Roundtable on the BleedRedblacks Podcast.
All right, game preview. So I want to get starting with offense, and this one's kind of tough because I'm basically writing this that regardless of who plays quarterback this weekend, we need to attack. We need to get away from the passive play calling we saw last week. We need to get back into stretching the field, and I feel like the Esks DBs have been their known weak spot, to be honest. Any team that can successfully complete passes in the 10 to 15 yard range will eat this defense alive, and we've seen that in all their losses. The Esks are second worst in points allowed and passes defended, and last in sacks and forced turnovers. So I feel like if we can really attack these guys early and often, and really get them behind the 8 ball early, it'll take a lot of heat off of our brutally banged up defense.
Yeah, and I'm hoping Burris has a big game, because last week he had the kind of game that I was like praying he wouldn't have, because I wanted nothing more than for him to come out and throw like 4 touchdowns, sling it, march the ball up and down the field. But instead, now we have all this bullshit about people booing him, which I'll argue is more about the play calling than actually his play. And so this week he needs to go out there and just light up the Eskimo defense, because that's going to stop all those fans who are just like, well, is Harris healthy yet? Should we rush him back? What about Jensen, this and that? And like, there's so many people just trying to create a controversy or this, like, yeah, just garbage where none need be. So I hope Hank has an awesome game.
Dating Rihanna?
I did,
Sorry.
yeah.
And I'm Big Joe. Okay, but I seriously am one of those fans, though, that doesn't want Burris to be playing when his hand is not healed. And I know he's saying 90%, but I just don't believe that he's even 90% healed. I mean, I've been wearing this stupid, you can't see because we're on radio, but I've been wearing this stupid
Hold it in front of
thumb
the mic,
brace. Can you see now? Can you see now? For 6 goddamn weeks because I strained a ligament. He tore a ligament. Like, you need your hand.
It was actually at the DC Arm Wrestling Championship. So she was
Which I won.
Obviously, with her left hand.
But I am one of those fans, and it's not because I don't like Burris. It's because I don't want to see an MOP out there ruining his chances of healing because we just didn't want to put Brock Jensen in. I just don't get it. And it's not about controversy. It's just really about letting Burris heal.
So for you, it's not so much his current state of health. It's like you don't want him back at all.
I don't want him back till he's healed, and I just don't believe that he's healed.
Yeah, and I'm with you, Santino. You mentioned earlier that Brock Jensen, he may not have the pedigree of or anywhere near it of a Burris, but physically he's a beast, and he's really fit, and he can. I don't know. I just feel like some of the timid play calling last week was maybe called to put a shield around him.
Well, yeah, if you're going to call plays to protect Burris and just make him throw 10-yard screens or 5-yard screens all game, well, Jensen can do that. And to your point, Janine, that'll let Burris stay healthy for another couple weeks.
So why not? So why not?
Might as well just have Danny O'Brien throw passes to Zach Evans all game, right?
Nothing better than a fat man touchdown.
Oh, that's nice of you to say. Okay. Defense.
Should I have said slow man touchdown?
I think we prefer big man.
Festively plump.
So defense, this game, obviously we're going up against Mike Riley and that scary Eskimo offense, and we're potentially going to be down no Abdul Kane or Jarrell Gavins, and those guys are 2 huge pieces in the secondary. Both those guys are longtime players, and they're very familiar with Nelson's schemes. But that being said, the newly signed Mitchell White last week showed he showed what he could do. Mm-hmm. He had a pick, and he nearly had like another couple of picks because he had a couple of nice breakups, and he's going to need to continue to play at that high level. The other question, speaking of the secondary, is Jonathan Rose healthy? Because he played those first couple games, and I thought, even though he's a rookie, he was phenomenal. And I really liked what I saw from him. So if those guys are going to be out, hopefully Rose draws back in the lineup. And I'm also completely fine with starting Jermaine Robinson at corner. Normally he plays safety. They kind of adjusted to him moving to corner mid-game. Mm-hmm. And I actually like that move because that means that John Boyette gets in the game. And I love the guy because I think the dude's tough, a beast.
Man.
He hits everything. To me, having Boyette and Robinson on the field at the same time, those are just 2 heavy hitters. And I like that. Yeah.
And I think Robinson, he's obviously taken his off-season training to a new level this year. I don't know how much muscle he's put on, but he's a different dude than he was last year, and he's looking stronger and faster and more fit than ever. So I think he's a lot, which enables him to play many different positions, to be honest. So what's really scary this year is Mike Riley has looked very inconsistent. Multiple times.
Not just this year. That's a pattern with him. So despite him, I love the guy. Mm-hmm. Love the guy. Think he's a great quarterback, but he's never been the most consistent at quarterback.
So what scares me the most about that is he still leads the league. So that's like extra scary, right? He's still leading the league in passing, and he's literally taken 2 half games off. The second half against Hamilton and the first half last week. And I don't know, it's weird. I feel like we're going to have the ability to really screw this guy up. And I think if we disguise our coverages the same way Winnipeg was doing with a young and experienced defense last week, I think we need to be creative and really make him think after the snap. And I think if he has time to plan, he's just going to eat us alive. We'll mix it up, and I don't know, maybe we'll see what Nelson can pull out of his Ric Flair hair. You never know, right?
Mark.
Woo!
There you go. There you go.
Angus McCohost doesn't know. He doesn't get any pop culture references. You know, I know foots and balls. Yeah, great, Angus. Yeah. Enjoy the cookies.
I'll just chime in here.
You have another box for me though, right?
Yeah,
I'm still waiting for mine, Mark. I'll just chime in here and say that although John White is not one of the league leading running backs this year in terms of his performance, he's not in the top 5. He is still a scary running back. We've been doing really, really well at containing the run this year. And John White might not be in the top 5, but he's that kind of running back that, you know, if you miss that one block, that's it. That guy's gone, and he's a tough player. So on defense, I want to see us continue that really great trend of protecting as well as we have been against the run.
And you mentioned it. He's one of those guys that you won't hear anything about, and then he could get 180 yards and 2 touchdowns. He has that explosiveness, that speed, and he's a little dude, and he can really literally sneak up on you.
I think his nickname is the Wolf, and I wouldn't want to mess with anybody who's nicknamed the Wolf.
Well, those guys usually don't have any friends, and you never fight guys with no friends, right? Because they got nothing to lose. Those are the scary guys. All right, special teams. So I'm going to say it right now. We talked about this last week. I honestly believe we should go for 2 after every touchdown. We are showing that we can score this year more than any other team. We can score more than any other team, and I think if we're going to lead the league in touchdowns, we have to go for 2. I think that the numbers will correlate, and at the end of the year, I think we'll come out on top. I think it's a change that it's going to happen, and it's just going to take one team to really go for it. I'm a huge supporter. I think if coach wants to be tricky, save the fake field goals and that. Let's play the numbers. Let's go for high percentage plays and just get rid of the 1 point extra point. I think that it would be an awesome, innovative thing to do, and I would love to see Campbell do that, but what the hell do I know?
All right, but
they're looking at me like I'm cross-eyed.
No, I'm not. I agree with you. I totally agree with you. I've been waiting for one coach to have the balls to go for 2 on after every touchdown. I think it's a great idea.
There is a coach, but he's in the NFL. His name is Mike Tomlin. That's what they're going to do.
The numbers
There's Mike when we need him.
The numbers tell the tale, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. But I do want to, and I know you're right about the formation and the fake field goal attempt, and I think it was Cappy D on Twitter was giving me a little bit of, see, this could have made the difference in the score, and it could have made the difference in the score had we gone for the field goal. But I gotta say, I do love on special teams having the balls to do something unexpected. Now, in this case, it became expected immediately because they switched formation before the
only way they could have done it worse is if they called the timeout first.
Isn't it kind of like showing bunt? No, it's not quite the same thing.
No, because you could pull that back.
That's right, you can pull that back.
When you
can't pull Milo back or Milo back.
Once Daniel Bryan's got the ball in his hands, there's no going back, man.
But I did love the call. I loved that we went for that, and because it changes your team's attitude and the fact that the coaches believe in them. And so on special teams especially, where there's not a lot of glory plays, I've said this a few times before, those are the kinds of things that I like seeing us make use of our special teams for.
One other thing that I wanted to kind of mention is that so Tristan Jackson got hurt last game, and Chris Williams moved to return duty. And if Jackson is hurt long term, in my opinion, it has to be someone other than Chris Williams returning kicks.
Absolutely.
Not only because I don't want the guy to get hurt, 'cause he's a big part of our offense, and I hate to say this, and again, I can't really fault him because I think it takes a ton of balls to be a returner, and it's not something I've ever done. But the guy looks scared to get hit. and we need a quick young player still trying to earn his stripes or something who's going to fight for those cutback lanes or extra yards, not someone who kind of ducks to avoid a hit or kind of steps out of bounds early.
Which is what he was when he started. He was that young kid
Exactly,
trying to get noticed.
but he's not anymore.
And he was great at it, but he got noticed. And now he's one of the best receivers in the league. And I agree 100%.
He got Hamilton, and he's never been the same, basically.
No one's the same after they get Hamilton.
Because that last drink he had before he got on the plane to Chicago. All right, thanks, guys. All right, Coach, let's take care of business.
There's two things a football team should never do. The first is run from shotgun on 3rd and 1. The second is lose at home. Well, we didn't do the first. We certainly did the last, and I'm not happy about it. That's 2 weeks in a row we've given the damn game away. I hate losing, and by dropping another one, this time to the Argos, we've suddenly lost our grip on first in the East. Elizondo, this was Burris' first game back, and you could have done a hell of a lot more to help him. What were you thinking with all the screens on 2nd and long? Remember, the goal is to get the ball forward and over the opposing team's goal line, not the sideline. I don't want to see Williams, Ellingson, Sinopoli, and Jackson catching the ball and standing still waiting for a block. I want them to be hit in stride and with speed. And Chew, Dean took 3 holding penalties last game. When we suit up against the Esks, I'm going to have the trainer tape over his entire hand. It's hard to hold on to something when you've only got a club, eh? Mark, you know Riley can put up numbers, but let's do our best to keep him from dictating the game. Let's try and get him into 2nd and long and force a mistake. Also, if Riley is going to throw for 300 yards, let's make sure it isn't to Bowman and Walker. I'd rather have their 3rd and 4th stringers trying to beat us. With Kane and Gavin's out, we could be in for a long day, so try and help out our new DBs with a couple of well-timed blitzes. Nothing says welcome to TD place like being hammered from the blind side by a blitzing Munoz, eh? Bob, have you been hitting the dill pickle sauce? I love a fake like a fat kid loves chocolate cake, but surely to God we can do better than having our 4th string QB throw a pass to our defensive tackle. You ever heard of the Eskimos returner? Me neither, and let's keep it that way. He ain't a household name yet, and I don't want him to bust into fame against us, unless it's for fumbling 3 times. Well, gentlemen, we're on a bit of a cold streak, and I want to make like Buckley's and crush it. If the Bombers can put up 30 versus these guys, there's no reason we shouldn't hang 50 on them. Let's go kick some Eskimo ass.
Yeah, Coach.
I'll suit up for you right now, Coach, after that one. All right, let's head into a little commercial. We'll come back with Renegade Rant and Reaction.
Right on.
Never again will you see rings on your table with the CFL-approved OLG Coaster Yellow Edition. It's easy. Go to your local OLG retailer, place a bet on a parlay with no research, watch your bet lose, and boom!
Coaster!
Bet on the Ticats to beat the Red Blacks?
Coaster!
Bet on the Argos to win the East?
Coaster!
Coaster come in a variety of price ranges from $2 to $100.
After Rake and Juice, you'll never be a long-term winner, but you will always win a coaster with OLG.
Welcome to the Red Black Renegade Rant with Santino Filoso.
Man, oh man, I knew people had short memories, but I didn't think it was quite that bad. After a game in which he threw for 218 or 183 yards, depending on where you get your stats, some in our nation have been quick to bash Henry Burris. You know, the guy who led Ottawa to 12 wins, the Grey Cup for the first time since 1981, and who just so happened to be the CFL's most outstanding player? Yep, that Burris. On one hand, I get it, as Burris was nowhere near close to playing at an MOP level, and the fact of the matter is that here in our nation, we've been spoiled by Trevor Harris playing at a video game-like level. But the fact of the matter is that Sunday night's game was Burris' first full game since November. Let that sink in for a minute. So of course he was going to have some rust. And while he did make a handful of wobbly throws, and while he might have skipped a few passes, let's not forget that some normally sure-handed receivers dropped a couple of easy passes. Not to mention the CFL Command Center took a surefire touchdown away for reasons only they understand. Furthermore, you cannot criticize Burris' performance without pointing a finger also at the offensive coordinator. Elizondo got no help, or Elizondo didn't help Burris at all, and seemed more than content to run the ball on 1st down and throw a screen on 2nd down on second and long, despite 2 and out after 2 and out after 2 and out after 2 and out. If his intention was to protect Burris because he wasn't fully healthy, then Burris should never have been in the game. But to blast Burris the way some fans have is just disgusting and makes me embarrassed that these so-called fans are members of our nation. Last season's MOP hasn't suddenly forgotten how to play at a high level, and he still has all of last year's weapons at his disposal. Burris's performance last night wasn't Father Time catching up with him. It was instead a quarterback who was a little bit off with his timing and who was clearly not on the same page as his receivers. Going forward, I'm sure he'll be better. And now, as much as I might agree with some of those who say Burris is washed up, what I do know is that the majority of fans at TD Place were not booing Burris on Sunday night, despite what you might read in a local paper. I'm not denying that the Boo Birds weren't out, because they were, but to assume they were intended for Burris is just plain naive. As someone who was at the game, I can honestly say that those around me weren't so much mad at Burris as they were pissed off at the play call selection. And from talking to a wide variety of fans in the days following the game, most people say the same thing. It's simple. Nobody likes a play where all the routes end short of the first down marker, especially on second down. It's not rocket science. I'm not saying nobody was booing Burris, but it certainly wasn't enough people or frequent enough to emerge as a post-game storyline. Going forward, Burris does need to be better if he wants to keep his job when Harris is fully healthy, but until then, let's not count out the reigning MOP just yet. Burris isn't over the hill because of one bad game, and if the play calling improves and he makes 2 or 3 better throws, this isn't even a conversation. Keep the faith in number one, because he hasn't lasted this long in the CFL for no reason.
I love it, Santino. I love it. I think you're absolutely right about you can't let one bad game. What is it with this expectation that we have that he and everybody else has to be perfect all the time? Like, we're all good at our jobs. We have bad days. The booing really killed me. It killed me for a different reason, which was we've talked a little bit about before. I really just don't believe that his hand is okay. So it's not just that you're booing our MOP and that you've got a short memory. It's that I really think the guy is hurting out there, and he's still out there suiting up for us. So just a little less, claw that back a little bit.
Give him a little bit of leeway.
Claw that expectation back just a little bit.
Okay, so a couple of things. Firstly, as far as people reacting on Twitter in a negative manner towards players, I think that kind of is bundled in with the new team, new demographic. Not really any people aren't understanding the long-term expectations of what we don't have seasoned fans who have watched football their whole lives, and over like a sample size of 2 years and 6 weeks, they feel that I don't know, it's so hard to, how am I trying to say this?
No, but maybe they start panicking, thinking, oh my God, it's like 2014 again.
Right, and there are those comments out there, people saying, oh wow, and that couldn't be the furthest thing from the truth. And I had to bite my tongue a few times saying, you're joking, right? Like, did you watch the games in 2014? Like, goo, right? Anyways, so firstly, I don't see the point on chirping your own team. I don't know how that's, like, trust me, they have enough motivation. I just don't see the point of that. I don't do that. I don't get it. But if it makes you feel better and makes you sleep better at night, give her. Secondly, obviously you guys know I'm a big fan of Hank. Nothing makes me happier. This is going to sound cheesy, but to see him smile after a victory, I think he's an amazing dude. And like the energy that you can feel it like almost through the television, and I think that the guys in the locker room feed off that too, and we may not get that. They're still feeding off of him even if he's having a poor performance, like who knows what their state of mind was in prior to last game, and maybe they were not prepared at all to play, and you just never know. It's very detailed and very complicated, and I'm having a hard time articulating what I'm trying to say, but is this making sense?
Yeah, I think you're articulating it. Leadership is more than having a completion rate of 75% or 85% each and every game. And that's where Burris's value to this team has always been. He took 2014 on his shoulders.
Just like he took the loss on his shoulders.
He took this loss on his shoulders. I don't see anybody else standing out there and taking that heat. It's always been Henry. And that goes back again to why I just want to make sure that we as a team and as the coaching staff and as the physical therapists are taking care of the guy that takes care of us. That's
the nice thing is with Hank stepping up, it then protects the coach from having to step up, and Elizondo doesn't.
Well, that's why he does it, right? Because he's such a leader.
But he's even defending his own leaders.
I
like
know,
that.
I know.
It's amazing,
Yeah.
and it would have been just as easy for Elizondo to say my game plan didn't work. We got out defensed, and time to go back and drop some new plays next week or whatever. And I mean, Mark, I know.
Well, at the end of the day, too, you got a guy like Burris who's playing at, let's say, 80% of his normal capabilities. He's still better than most of the other quarterbacks in the league at 110%. Calling a spade a spade. So I think people need to realize too, this guy's just come back off injury. Give him a little bit of leeway. Were bad throws made? Yeah, fair enough. But that's not the whole story.
And the same people who are chirping Brock Jensen's performance can't chirp Hank too.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Like, okay, well now what? So who's left? Oh, Jensen's a bomb. He's terrible. I thought he played great in relief, and people didn't. Pretty much the same people who are chirping Henry here. So just have some methodology to your complaining. What's the resultant if those two don't start? Is Danny O'Brien the answer? Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Well, that's the problem with social media these days too. Is for a lot of people, it just gives them a voice to complain about anything and everything all the time.
And I mean that's fine. But as I really want our nation
to be better than that.
Yeah. We don't need to do that.
Yeah, as a Sens fan, that's one thing I hate about Ottawa's fans base. It's like when the Senators win a game, oh my God, playing the Stanley Cup route, they're unbeatable, they're going to win it all. They lose a game, oh, everyone should be fired, everyone should be traded, they're all bums. And it's like the football fans weren't like that. And I don't want Ottawa football fans to become known for being like that. Even though it's a lot of overlap because it's a lot of the same people, I would really hope that kind of thing doesn't develop in our nation.
At the moment, we already have a reputation of being cocky, of being very confident and having some swagger, and that's cool. But learning to lose like an adult is just as important as learning to win.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of our fan base doesn't know how to lose yet.
Which is funny, given 2014. I'm just saying. I'm just putting that out there. We were pretty good at it our first season.
Did you, let's just take a time machine back to Twitter 2 years ago. It's probably the same people, Burris sucks, right? Same people.
They're just probably retweeting what they've tweeted back in 2014.
It's like a memory from 2 years ago.
Yeah. Good thing Twitter doesn't have on this day.
Could you imagine?
On this day, the city of Ottawa deleted this Grey Cup announcement tweet. Oops. All right, thanks, guys. That was great. Okay, thanks, guys. That was amazing. I think we all got something to think about here, and obviously Henry Burris is still number one here in the basement in South Keys. Woo! There you go. All right, let's go to a little commercial action and come back with some outro. Are you sick and tired of being heckled for selling hot dogs outside TD Place with no permit?
Hey, you got a permit for that, bud?
Or your worries are over with the new 123 hot dog permit kit from 613 Sneaky Sausage. Send us your money, we send you a permit. It's as easy as doing a backflip after a punt. This permit also works for oysters, corn on the cob, stinky tofu, and lemonade stands. Get yours before it's too late. This has been a paid advertisement by the BRB Group. BRB does not endorse or suggest this product, but if you send us $50, we will print you anything you want. Okay, awesome. So, just a couple little housekeeping things here. Our nation, we do this for you guys. We need your support. So, retweets, shares, anything goes a long way. Our downloads have been great. Speaking of which, I want to congratulate everyone on the team here and thank everyone who's listening for hitting 40,000 downloads last week. Congratulations, guys. It's pretty crazy. We did it.
Yeah.
And that's not including YouTube plays and a lot of other things. So we're doing really well, and which is amazing considering the amount of CFL podcasts that there are. There's a lot of really good shows out there, and I recommend to anyone listening to just have a peek through and check out the other ones. They're awesome, and everyone's doing a lot of good work. And just 40K, next stop 100K, and then
seems like yesterday we hit 20K.
Seems it's just so 2015. So I don't know about you guys, but we kind of made Cabina a little bit of a celebrity last year. And so I talked to my season ticket holder rep, Greg. He's a little afraid to come on the show, but I think it's time for us to call out Greg. What's up, OSEG Greg? Section FF represent. Hammer's Twitter account, I think it's at OSEG Greg. Send all your questions his way. He's an awesome dude. He'll get back to you right away, and can't wait to have him on the show. It's going to be amazing.
We're not scary, Greg. All the time.
And also, hey Cabina, Miss you. You're still awesome.
Yeah, don't worry, Greg. Most things that go down Mark's basement come out.
I don't know. Where's Mike?
On vacation.
What's that muffled murmuring sound?
Angus.
The closet?
So to go along with like everyone helping us out on social media, and those of you who do, thank you so much. Those of you who don't, please retweet or share. It would be amazing. Also, feel free to email us any comments, questions, topics, literally anything you want us to talk about to bleedredblacks@gmail.com. We will 100% bring up any topic, assuming it's like PC or not totally offside, and we still may consider it. So please
We'll just throw a couple flags
just
down.
as much participation as possible. That would be amazing. And I'm pretty sure I'm not speaking for myself when hopefully next week we hear the winning songs that we love so much.
Not speaking for just yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Long overdue.
Awesome. Well,
I
Mark,
haven't listened to Motorhead in weeks.
yeah,
I even
right.
forget how.
Isn't that your alarm clock?
Yeah, a couple ringtones too.
The only guy's got Ace of Spades on his ringtone in the office.
I don't think I'm the only guy.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Mark, thanks a lot for getting us in here. We're actually in here on a Tuesday. We had to expedite this show, so you guys are awesome. We actually bombed this whole thing out just today, and we all work full time. So thanks for the effort and the last call. Mark's heading out of town tomorrow, so this is great. You can thank Mark. Give him some love on social media. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have a show this week. And other than that, hopefully season ticket holder Mike, he actually is on the East Coast.
I think he's scouting the Sooners.
Yeah, that's what he told me, but I don't know.
Better sooner than later.
Oh, snap. All right, well, let's end it with some crickets.
Thank you for stopping by on this week's episode of the Bleed Red Blacks Podcast. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter @BleedRedblacks or like us on Facebook at facebook.com/BleedRedblacks Podcast.